Chapter 9, The Rebels Fall. Night folded over Eldoria City in rain and bell smoke. Curfew torches burned at every gate. Patrol pairs moved in tight loops through market lanes. On the main square, carpenters worked by lantern light on 3 new execution frames while soldiers watched from the fountain steps. Garrick's message was everywhere. Fear first. Obedience second. From a roofline above the Tanner's Row, Rowan watched the square through a broken parapet. Below him, Elira stood in a cooper's widow shawl beneath a hooded cloak, flanked by Mara and Bram in traitor disguise. Tomas held the alley mouth with 2 archers. No banners. No rebel marks. No mistakes. Rowan touched 2 fingers to the stone, signal. Mara answered with a low whistle. Clear. Elira stepped into the square as the curfew bell struck once. People froze when they saw her face in the torchlight. A baker dropped his basket. A stable hand crossed himself. Someone whispered, Princess Elira. Then louder, it's really her. Elira climbed the fountain rim and raised her voice. People of Eldoria, she called. I stand here by choice. No one coerces me. A murmur rolled through the square. Soldiers near the frame scaffold shifted, uncertain. Elira kept going. Lord Garrick says villages burn because rebels hide among you. He lies. Villages burn because fear is his weapon. More faces appeared at shuttered windows. Doors opened by inches. Then by feet. I have seen Riverstead starve, she said. I have seen Hollomere's fever wards. I have seen crown taxes take seed grain from children. A corporal shouted, silence in the king's name. No one moved. Elira met his eyes and spoke louder. If the crown calls truth treason, then I stand with traitors who feed the hungry. The square broke into sound. Not cheers. Not yet. But voices rising, overlapping, no longer quiet. Let her speak. She is right. My brother died in Garrick's raids. Rowan felt the moment tip. Then horns sounded. 3 blasts from the North Avenue. Royal Cavalry. Time, Rowan hissed. Mara moved to Elira's side. Bram threw smoke pots at both square exits. Tomas signaled the alley route. Retreat plan. It should have worked. Instead, black-cloaked crossbowmen rose from hidden positions on the surrounding roofs. Not patrol. Prepared net. Garrick stepped into the square beneath a black banner, rain streaking his armor. Touching speech, he said, voice carrying. Thank you for assembling the sympathizers in one place. Rowan's blood ran cold. He had known there was risk. He had not seen this. Crossbows leveled. Drop weapons, Garrick said. Princess alive. Rebels optional. Panic surged. Civilians ducked behind carts and stalls. Rowan dropped from the roof into the smoke and reached Elira in 3 strides. We move now, he said. She grabbed his forearm. The East Lane dash. Blocked. Tomas crashed into the square from the alley, face tight with alarm. South Lane 2. They knew every exit. A beat too long. A beat Rowan understood at once. How? Mara snapped. No one answered. Garrick raised his hand. Take the princess. Shoot the outlaw. Bolts snapped through smoke. Rowan shoved Elira behind the fountain and drew steel. Mara and Bram dragged civilians toward cover while Tomas and the archers fired upward at roof teams. The square dissolved into screams, hoofbeats, and black powder haze. Rowan fought toward the north lane, clearing 1 soldier, then 2. Elira stayed at his shoulder with her short blade, deflecting a thrust aimed at Mara's back. Left. Rowan shouted. She moved. A rider cut them off. Bram threw a powder jar at the horse's chest. Flash. Smoke. The animal reared and toppled. Go! Bram yelled. They reached the butcher's passage and nearly made the turn. Nearly. A squad of crown hunters closed from both ends. No escape. Garrick walked through the smoke as if he had all night. Enough, he said. Crossbows clicked. 40 paces. 40 bolts. Rowan counted in one breath. Too many. He looked at Elira. Rain on her lashes. Blood on her sleeve that was not hers. Do not, she whispered, reading him. If I do not, he said, everyone here dies. Rowan dash. Listen to me. He took her hand once, hard. Stay alive. Then he stepped out from cover, dropped his sword, and raised both hands. I surrender, he called. Every sound in the square seemed to tear at once. Mara swore. Bram went white with fury. Elira took one step toward Rowan before two hunters caught her arms. No. Rowan did not look away from her. Do not give him your fear, he said. Garrick smiled slowly. Shackle him. Chains slammed around Rowan's wrists. Bram lunged and took a rifle butt to the ribs. Mara cut one hunter down before a blade pinned her at the throat. Tomas lowered his axe when 3 crossbows centered on a cluster of civilians behind him. Garrick turned to Elira. You see, he said. Heroes are most useful at the end. Rowan spat blood into the rain. You needed a city full of crossbows to catch one man. Garrick leaned close. I needed a symbol to break the rest. He straightened and barked orders. Take the princess to the inner keep. Isolate her. Elira fought the grip on her arms. If you touch him, dash. I will do more than touch him, Garrick said. He faced the square, voice ringing off stone. By decree of King Alric, Rowan Ashford is sentenced to public execution at dawn. The words hit like a hammer. Civilians gasped. Some cried out. Others bowed their heads in stunned silence. Rowan met Elira's gaze across the press of soldiers. No panic in him now. Only iron. This is not the end, he said quietly. She shook her head, tears mixing with rain. I will get you out. Live, he said. That is your first order. Hunters dragged them apart. Rowan was hauled through the north gate in chains, through torchlit streets lined with faces that watched in grief and fear. At the gallows square, workers were already raising the crossbeam higher. Too high. Designed for spectacle. Garrick rode beside the prisoner wagon and spoke without looking at him. You could have ruled trees and shadows forever, Ashford. Rowan stared at the execution frame as rain ran down his face. No, he said. Garrick's mouth twitched. No. People do not follow shadows, Rowan answered. They follow what survives fear. Garrick said nothing. Inside the inner keep, Elira was shoved into a locked chamber with 2 guards outside and iron bars over the narrow balcony arch. She crossed to the window and looked toward the city square. Even from this height, she could see the gallows silhouette rising above rooftops. Her hands shook once. Then stopped. On the table behind her sat a brass mirror, a wax candle, and untouched bread. Elira took the candle, melted wax onto the floor stones, and pressed her signet ring into it. 1 seal. Then a second. Then a third. 3 emergency marks for the palace servants' relay she had used as a child when corridors were watched. She slid the coated wax discs into the hollow seam beneath the window ledge, where laundry runners checked for messages at dawn. When she was done, she stood at the bars and looked into the storm. Hold on, she whispered to the city, to the forest, to one man in chains. Below, bells began to toll the night watch. Dawn was coming. And with it, the rebels' fall.